Ableism is on the rise. If you're not disabled, you may not have even noticed. Maybe even like some of the memes, not knowing their deeper connotations. So let's talk about it. On Twitter, there was this post. It said, "We don't talk enough about how stressful Halloween costumes are for the ADHD community." This may have been a joke or a real person with ADHD venting. It's hard to tell on the internet. Another Twitter user quote replies, "OMG, you people can't do anything." This minor internet interaction could have amounted to nothing. It honestly seemed like a small internet dispute. However, the tweet went viral, and now the quote, "OMG, you people can't do anything," is frequently commented under all disabled people's posts, not just people with ADHD. Some people with ADHD say they find the quote helpful. It motivates them. Some people even claim it cured their ADHD, which would be impossible because ADHD is a different way of your brain working. There is no cure. Hopefully it's just hyperbole, but again, it's hard to tell because it's the internet, and as an autistic person, I have a hard time distinguishing jokes from honesty, as autism causes difficulty in nonverbal and verbal communication. And no, the aforementioned tweet can't cure autism either. There were people with ADHD who felt affected by the tweet negatively as well. I personally do not have ADHD, but I searched around on TikTok for real people with ADHD. Many of their negative feelings were the same feeling guilty that they can't change themselves and sad. This is really upsetting to hear. One may think to describe to others that you wouldn't say this to a person with a physical disability. Why would you say that to someone with a mental illness or a person who's neurodivergent? However, this argument doesn't work because people do indeed say the tweet, "You people can't do anything," to people with physical disabilities as well. It is quite frequently the top comment on people's videos with a visible mental or physical disability, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. If you call out the person who comments the quote for being ableist, their defense is usually, "It's a joke," or "I'm just trying to be funny." I'm unsure how something like this could be funny in any context. Disability means you have less abilities than a person without one. I'm not trying to be depressing, it's just the truth. That's literally what the word means. It doesn't make them less than. The person could do something an able-bodied person could never do. However, this diagnosis literally means they can't do some things. That's quite literally how you get diagnosed with anything, whether that be a physical or a mental illness. This quote has definitely done harm to the disabled community. Being online as a disabled person is already hard. People are quicker to judge you online, and it's harder to understand social cues online. Now, if a person senses you may be disabled, your comment section is filled with the same repetitive quote, or also quoting survival of the fittest or such. Honestly, I'm sick of seeing it. Like, ableists could at least become a little creative with their insults. I'm bored, okay? Ableism is getting worse. The singular tweet may have done harm to the community, but it's not the catalyst. The word autism or acoustic is now being used as an insult to call people weird online and in person. Slurs used against disabled people are all over the internet again, in YouTube videos, TikToks, Facebook, and also in person. I mean, the rise in ableism unfortunately should not be a shocker, given the President of the United States made fun of a disabled journalist live on TV, or the fact that he and the Secretary of Health asserted at a public conference that taking Tylenol while pregnant will increase risk of autism without any evidence, somehow, of course, making it all the mother's fault. Other words JFK Jr. has said about autism are just as concerning, such as announcing to eradicate autism, calling it a tragedy, and that it destroys families. I fear the rise of ableism is far from over. Words are not the only thing that is showing the rise of ableism, but also their actions. On June 18th, 2026, the DOJ Office of Legal Counsel issued a memo arguing the ADA does not actually require states to provide services in community settings. The memo itself acknowledges this view is out of step with how courts have understood Olmsted for 27 years. The Olmsted Act, created in 1999, ruled in Olmsted v. LC that unnecessarily institutionalizing people with disabilities is a form of illegal discrimination under the ADA. The case was brought to the court by two women in Georgia, Louis Curtis and Elaine Wilson. Both were held in state institutions, even though professionals agreed they could live in the community. Undoing Olmsted will cause states to push disabled people back into hospitals instead of receiving home care from their state, their family, and friends. States pushing disabled people back into hospitals will be easy as well due to the big beautiful bill making deep cuts to Medicaid, the primary funder of community-based care. As Nelson Mandela once said, "A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones." I agree highly with this quote, but America, it appears, does not. As America tries to do away with social safety nets, the same week a man becomes the first trillionaire, a number that is hard to imagine. A sour note to end off on, but the truth so often is. It's not over yet. You yourself can make a change by being part of your local community, joining your local DSA, phone banking for your local politicians, or door knocking, going to protests, calling your legislators, and supporting disabled organizations. I know a lot of these things can be hard when you're disabled because it's hard to leave the house or drive or make calls, but there's still more we can do. Even the simplest things can help. You can spread awareness like I am by making this video. A lot of people don't even know this is happening right now. Resharing disabled organizations and disabled people's story. Sharing your own stories of how community care helps you. Or sharing your story of how 504 in schools helped you. Emailing your legislators, promoting your local protest, and not disappearing, even though it's really hard to not want to disappear when there's, unfortunately, so much going on. But I want you all to remember to stay weird. Bye.